Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out why Swiss trains are the best in Europe. So before we do start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's find out why they are the best. Let's get it.
This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream and Nebula, which is possibly the best bundle deal in video streaming, but more about that later.
Mm.
I live in the Netherlands, where we have some pretty good trains. There's a dense network that connects nearly all major towns and cities. The busiest train station, Utrecht Centraal, has over 1,000 train departures per day. And there are also high-speed trains to neighboring countries. For example, I can go to Paris in less than 3.5 hours. But as good as we have it here in the Netherlands, there's another country in Europe that does trains better. Much better, in fact. Welcome to the Confederatio Helvetica, or as I like to call it, Switzerland. Famous for mountains, holy cheese, chocolate, bending
Oh,
knives, and time
tell me
bracelets, and
about
of
it.
course, trains.
Cheese and the chocolate, I'm
Lots and
good.
lots of trains. Now, I've been to Switzerland many times, and I've taken the train every time I've come because, of course, I did. It's the most efficient way to get around. But recently, I stayed a full week in Switzerland and took multiple trains per day to find out what makes these trains the best trains in Europe.
Mm.
One of the things that really sets the train system apart in Switzerland is just how extensive it is. Look at this map. There are train stations everywhere. There are towns, tiny towns, that have consistent, reliable train service every 30 minutes. In many other countries, they wouldn't even provide bus service to a place this small.
Yeah.
Some of the smallest towns have request stop service, where you need to press this button to have the train stop, but there's still train service. And
Mm-hmm.
this train station that services only a single cafe, a ski lift, and a hiking trail has service every 30 minutes.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the city of Calgary in Canada, a city of 1.3 million people, has no intercity train service at all. Zurich also has about 1.3 million people, but almost 3,000 trains per day, with train times so frequent you don't even need to look at a schedule. So if you're taking the train here, you won't have to wait very long. Frequencies like this are the gold standard of public transportation, but this is really only feasible in more populated areas. So, how do they provide such good train service to smaller towns and villages? Well, Switzerland is a relatively small country by land area, and
Yeah.
some people may assume that's why the public transit can be so good, but these Wikipedia level statistics can be very misleading. Because by population, Swiss cities actually aren't that big. After
Mm-hmm.
Zurich, the next largest city, Geneva, has only about 600,000 people in the whole region. In fact, almost 50% of the entire population of Switzerland lives in small villages of less than 10,000 people.
Oh.
In a way,
I
Switzerland is a
really want to go to
sprawling country,
Switzerland.
but instead of car dependent suburban sprawl like you'd see in North America, it's village sprawl. Yet the
Mm-hmm.
country still manages to cover this highly dispersed population with exceptional public transport. Switzerland uses what is called clock face scheduling. For example, a transit vehicle that comes every 30 minutes will always come at 15 minutes and 45 minutes after the hour, or 5
Mm.
minutes and 35 minutes, or maybe it's 4 times per hour at 5, 20, 35, and 50 minutes past the hour, but regardless, it's consistent, and it goes all day, so that regular users won't have to think too much about the schedule. This is actually pretty normal, and many countries schedule their public transit this way, including the Netherlands and Germany. But Switzerland takes this a step further by synchronizing their timetables across the entire country,
Wow,
a
look at
method
that.
called pulse timetabling or integrated timetables. Here's how it works. Train departure times at a train station are staggered so that trains may be arriving every 30 minutes at, say, 15 minutes past the hour and departing in a different direction at, say, 25 minutes past the hour. This way, most
Oh,
people arriving at the station will have at most 10 minutes to wait for their connecting train. But
okay.
Switzerland integrates these timetables throughout the entire network across the
I don't know why it's lagging. Um, we cannot even get our internet straight in this country.
entire country to
So I
minimize connection
doubt
durations as much as possible.
our train.
Not Just Bikes viewer Jock Tur has written a great article about this that I'll link to in the description, but here's a quick summary for those of you who are allergic to reading. His analysis, done at 10 a.m. on a Friday, so outside of rush hour, shows that across the entire Swiss train network, the average wait time for a connection is 8.4 minutes, with 77% of all possible connections being 10 minutes or less.
Mm.
That's astonishing, and it means that even a trip with multiple train connections is only marginally longer than a single direct train. Another benefit of integrated timetabling is that the Swiss can squeeze the most capacity possible out of their network. Switzerland is an incredibly mountainous country, and that means that building rail lines is extremely expensive. So there
Oh.
aren't a lot of individual rail lines, and a small number of routes need to be shared by a large number of rail services. This tight scheduling is the only way a route like this could operate with only a single track through the mountains. For example, while traveling through the south of Switzerland, our train occasionally needed to wait briefly for another train to clear the tunnel, which was only a single track, but wait times were short and we always arrived on time. Of course, in order to pull this off, the trains need to arrive when they're supposed to arrive, and Swiss
Mhm.
trains are famously punctual. The official statistic is that 91.9% of all trains arrive on time, but it's even better than it sounds. First of all, on time is defined as within 3 minutes of the scheduled arrival time. But this is a much stricter
Within
definition than you'll find
three
in many other
minutes.
countries. Here in the Netherlands, for example, the national carrier Nederlandse Spoorwegen considers a train to be on time if it's within 5 minutes of the scheduled arrival time. And where I used to live in the Greater Toronto area, Go Transit uses a 15-minute metric for on time performance for a region that is a tiny fraction the size of Switzerland, but with a similar population. And if you think that's bad, Via Rail in Canada says that 71% of their trains are on time, but they don't publish what metric they use. But anyway, what's really impressive about the Swiss train network is the connection punctuality. 98.9% of trains in
Oh,
Switzerland allow their passengers to make their connection, which is amazing.
amazing.
After all, arriving at home 5 minutes late one day isn't really a big deal, but just missing your connection to a train that only leaves every 30 minutes is much worse.
Yes.
But enough statistics and graphs. What is it actually like to take the train in Switzerland? Well, first of all, the trains are really nice. Every train I took was modern, clean, and comfortable. In the mountain regions, there are even trains with windows like this to enjoy the view. And
Oh,
you definitely want to get a good view when the
so
landscape looks
beautiful.
like this.
Uh-huh.
There are also tourist trains like the Glacier Express that are even better, but more about that later. But even the regular
Oh,
intercity trains are
wow.
great.
Look at
I
that.
want you to look at this scene for a
What
moment.
tables?
How freaking civilized is this? Can you
I wanna
seriously tell me
cry.
you'd rather sit in traffic on a highway, confined to your seat, with a belt, constantly needing to pay attention, with
I would rather be in a train where I can have coffee and look outside and imagine, like, make my own music video in my head. Like, I would love to take the train every day if that's what I was getting. Like, imagine you're going to work and then you have a table, you can have your coffee. You don't even have to have coffee at home. You can just do it whilst on your way to work. Like, sign me up. Where can I want to go now? Sign me up. What? I don't want to be like have my Stanley. I don't even have one, and then put it in a car and sip on it whilst no, no, thank you. I would rather be looking outside the window while sipping on a coffee. Thank you.
no way to comfortably eat or even take a piss instead of this? I refuse
Look
to
at that.
believe
And
that
look
there
at the
is any
man.
better
He
way to
has
travel than on a
food.
train like this one. I was also impressed at how many trains had level boarding and direct access to wheelchair areas and accessible restrooms.
Nice. Oh wow, it's even huge.
It wasn't every car on every service, but it's clear that Switzerland is making a concerted effort to ensure that their network remains accessible to everyone.
When will I
And
get to
every
go to
station I visited
Switzerland?
had ramps or elevators too. Though, as I was filming my walk to my connecting train,
There
I
is
wasn't
a
expecting to see
wheelchair.
this guy take the escalator.
Mm-hmm.
Damn!
You can do that? I didn't know.
Individual train
I
trips in
didn't know you could
Switzerland
do
can be
that.
quite expensive, but for residents, it's
Ignorance,
quite
I
common to
know,
have
but
half price or regional travel cards loaded onto a Swiss pass. And some people are even provided an unlimited travel card by their employer. For most of the
what?
week, I
Somebody
traveled
employ me,
second
please.
class, and in every case, this was more than good enough. But for the last 4 days, I bought a countrywide travel pass for first
In
class just
Switzerland.
to see the difference. Thank you, Patreon supporters. First class is an upgrade, but it's not significant and
Yeah.
probably not worth the price unless the route you're taking is expected to be really busy. However, some of the trains have business zones like this one that are extremely comfortable, and I was able to get a few hours of work done while in transit too.
Mm.
There's a famous quote by the former mayor of Bogota: "A developed country is not a place where the poor have cars, it's where the rich use public transportation." And that
Mm.
is absolutely the case in Switzerland. When I was traveling first class,
Amazing.
I routinely saw well dressed people and professionals like this who opened their laptop to debrief after a business meeting. I believe that having wealthy people take public
Amazing.
transportation is important because, for better or for worse, these people are likely to have the power and political influence to demand efficient service.
Mm.
For
True.
planning your journey, the SBB app is fantastic. You choose your route and it shows you exactly how long it's going to take and where you need to change, with a list of every station in between. And it will even show you the layout of the station and the exact path between platforms. Changing trains doesn't get any easier than this. Here is an example of a typical train trip, one of the many I took during my week in Switzerland. In any other country, I'd be worried about taking a trip with this many changes. But when you're likely to catch a connection, in 99% of cases, it's not a problem at all.
Wow. And it's like, look at that empty. I don't know what is wrong with my internet.
Here, I look at my first connection.
We have like
The app shows me
700
where I need to
Mbps,
stand on the
but
platform for my train, as well as an
clearly
estimate of how busy each carriage is.
it's
The app
crazy.
tells me exactly where I need to get off to change trains and which platform I'm going to. And I get a notification when we're getting close. Changing trains is trivial because I know exactly where I'm arriving and which platform I need to get to.
Mm.
This is an older train, but it's still clean and comfortable. My next train was running almost 3 minutes late, and the app warned me that the connection might not be possible. But of course, it
Oh,
was perfectly fine, and I got
because
to my next train with plenty of time to spare.
mm-hmm.
Even when the connection involved a transfer to a bus, it was waiting right outside, because the
Wow,
schedules are properly aligned even to a connecting bus service.
so
So, was all of
so
my travel perfect
easy.
in Switzerland? Well, no. I took about 2 dozen trains while I was there, and I was unlucky enough, or lucky enough for the purpose of this video, to miss one of my connections. So,
Mm.
what was that like? Well, first, the train was late because of a delay in another country. Ooh, Switzerland throwing Italy under the bus. I mean, train. But from what I've been told, many of the Swiss trains that are late because they're coming from another country. So this was a pretty
Oh,
typical
we
experience.
go to other countries too.
So anyway, my train was late and I missed my connection. Now, there have been many times in my life where I've been driving between cities and I end up being half an hour late or an hour late or more because of unexpected car traffic. This is just a normal part of travel, especially in places with no alternatives to driving. But being stuck in stop and go traffic like this sucks. It sucks a lot, and I hate it. When I missed my connection in Switzerland, I was in a tiny town of only 13,000 people. But while I waited, I was able to grab something to eat, and I stepped outside to enjoy the view. When you drive in traffic, you don't really know how long it's going to be, and it's stressful and frustrating. This delay was the exact polar opposite of that. In fact, it was a really enjoyable break. I
Mm.
just wonder how much better the world would be if people's travel delays were like this instead of like this. It just blows my mind that even a delayed train trip in Switzerland was better than almost any intercity driving trip I've ever done in the US or Canada. And can I just point out that this town of 13,000 people has regular train service, including international trains?
No, I didn't
But
even
the
know they
best part
had
about traveling in
international
Switzerland was that
trains.
whenever I got to my destination, no matter where it was always a short walk, tram trip, or gondola journey directly to where I wanted to go, because
Mm.
every Swiss city, town, and village is designed properly to be mixed use and walkable. This was the very first time that I returned to the Netherlands after a trip abroad and didn't think to myself, oh, finally, back to civilization.
Mm.
It's easy to feel that way when coming back from a trip to North America because everything is just so terrible there by comparison. But returning from Switzerland was different. Everything just seemed a bit less polished. Despite
There's
getting
an
on a recently
upstairs, right?
renovated train back
I'm
to
not
Amsterdam
crazy.
South, it still seemed kinda rickety and noisy compared to the train I left in Zurich. And I almost missed my train because I forgot to tap my OV chip card before boarding. It was only at this point that I realized I hadn't gone through a fare gate for a train the whole time I was gone, which was really, really
There's
nice.
his bicycle.
Dutch cities are pretty great, and that's an understatement. And cycling is certainly better here than anywhere in Switzerland, and I talked about that in a previous video.
Oh,
But there's something to be said
I
about a
want to see
country
that.
that is so well set up with high quality, punctual, and efficient public transportation that makes traveling so easy. This carefree transportation felt like true freedom, more so than any car dependent place I've ever been. Of course, one of the things they definitely don't have here in the Netherlands is mountains. So, one of the highlights of my trip was taking the Glacier Express, a scenic train that takes you through some of the most beautiful views in the Swiss Alps. I made a whole other video about what it's like to take the Glacier Express, and you can watch it now on Nebula. Nebula is the Streamy Award winning service that was created
Okay, I think that is it. But let
by
me,
and for educational videos on topics whole first year of
yeah,
service, which is
that is it. I know my internet was bad. Sorry about that, but this is what you get in the Philippines. You pay a lot of money for supposedly something good, but they never deliver. It's very, they gaslight you always in any services you want. They sell you a dream and then you buy it and then you're like, but anyways, it happens. Okay. Nobody's perfect, but Switzerland is perfect, at least close to. Okay. And I'm jealous because I wish we had basic transportation that was smooth like that. I mean, okay, our transportation system is okay. It's good for, I mean, because I'm used to it, it's good. Okay. Our jeepneys, we're doing fine. Okay. You can catch it every 2 seconds, but the problem is it's not true because sometimes there are long lines, especially rush hours, and there's traffic. It's not you. We don't have time schedules. Okay, you can wait 1 second every 3 minutes. It will come every 7 minutes or an hour, 30 minutes. There's no saying. Okay, we just roll with the dice. Um, so I wish we had good transportation system, but it doesn't look like anytime soon that will happen. Probably 10 to 20 years. Um, maybe it's not even guarantee. So yeah, when I see countries where they have good transportation system, I'm always really, really jealous. I'm always like, "Oh, I wish we had this." But yeah, I never knew this about Switzerland, and I want to watch cycling in Switzerland, how it's gonna be. So if you want me to check it out, let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.